Hi, welcome back. I'm Lorraine, interior designer with Sacred-by-Design. And today we're going to talk about kitchen budgets under $25,000. Now the easiest way to get a kitchen, brand new kitchen under $25,000 is not to replace your cabinets. I am, however, not going to talk about those options in this video. I will probably address that in another video down the road. But today we're going to talk about basic kitchens completely replaced for under $25,000. Now, if you were paying attention to the last video where we talked about percentages, that means in a $25,000 kitchen, you're wanting to keep your kitchen, your cabinet budget under $12,000, preferably right around $10,000. Now, to be perfectly clear, there are only going to be a few sized kitchens that will fall into that category. And most of those are going to be 10 by 10 or smaller. Galley kitchens or very small 10 by 10 kitchens that might have an L shape. And so just keep that in mind. Now, there are some options. Again, I talked about these in the cabinet section when I talked about the expensive cabinets, what costs more, what costs less. If you're a do-it-yourselfer or you have friends in the industry that are going to help you out and you have other options to go to, that's great and amazing. And there are always going to be those options if you look for them. However, that is not what we are going to address in this video. So in a $25,000 kitchen, more than likely it will be a 10 by 10 or smaller. More than likely you will not be painting your cabinets. You'll be doing a natural wood. The expense of painting can add anywhere upwards of 10 to 20% to the overall cost of the cabinets. Most cabinet companies that are what we would consider semi-custom or semi-custom manufactured, and even in your custom cabinets, if you keep the overall accessories down, the style of your cabinet and the wood within your medium to lower end price range, you should be able to replace cabinets in a kitchen like this. One of the places that you might have to take action as far as reducing your budget most often happens around countertops. Now, granted, at this point, solid surface countertops have become much more cost effective than they were even 5 or 10 years ago. So much more doable than most people think. So definitely check that option out. Again, as we talked about percentages in the previous video, let's take that into consideration. If your cabinets are 10%, your budget is $2,500. I'm going to tell you, you probably are not going to get countertops in for $2,500 at 10% of your budget, but you might be able to get them in for $3,000 as 20% of your budget. So just, there's going to be some minimums in some of these areas. So just keep that in mind when you're taking everything into consideration, both the percentages I listed in the first video and the overall cost of what your budget is. Now we're talking kitchens under $25,000. So there's going to be some places that maybe we don't get to play around as much. One of the big cost savings is any appliances that you can keep and save, please do. And then, there are going to be some things that you'll want to consider replacing now versus later, because then the overall cost later could get to be more. If you have what they consider a freestanding stove or range, that's one that stands on its own and gets shoved against a wall. That is something, if it's good enough for now, that you can save and worry about maybe replacing that down the line sometime. Refrigerator, as long as your current refrigerator is functioning well and you leave space wherever you're designing your kitchen and you're putting in your new cabinets, you leave space for the refrigerator you might want down the line. So most average kitchen refrigerators are going to run 30 inches wide, 33 inches wide, or your larger versions are going to be 36 inches wide. Now, if you've got an older kitchen, most often they're going to be right around 30 to 33. If you're fortunate enough, it's already 36. The space is already there. You don't have to think about it too hard. But just keep those in mind, that as long as the space is available for any future change, then you can keep your appliance costs down and worry about replacing those later, as long as they're functioning well and you're okay with them for the moment. Now, so that get your appliance budget down. Again, I believe I spoke about a 10 to 15% budget for appliances in the first video. This is not going to apply for kitchens under 25,000. Most often, if you're going to replace all of your appliances, you can shop them. You know what it looks like. Give or take somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500 per appliance for your major appliances. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, where you're at, whether or not you get them on sale and discount, what level you're talking about as far as brand, make, model, size, those types of things. So just keep those things in mind. And as you're looking at your overall budgets, so now we've got cabinets at 10, we've got countertops, give or take, around 3 to 4, and then if you're doing some appliances, let's say you spend another $4,000 on appliances. So now we're at 17,000 of that 25. Now we're not doing too bad. Give or take somewhere between 500 and 1,000 when you're talking about replacing a sink and faucet. And that will depend obviously on the type of sink and the type of faucet. Your plumbing, which even if you're not moving any plumbing, you need to pay a plumber. If you're not handy and doing it yourself, we're not talking to do-it-yourselfers here. Your plumber is going to be an extra cost. So let's say another $1,500 because they've got to come in and reconnect your dishwasher. They've got to reconnect your drain lines and water lines for your new sink and faucet. Just keep those budgetary items in mind. Now we're somewhere in the $18,000 to $19,000 range, and you're like, ooh, $7,000 left over. There are things that will take up this money super fast. If you're replacing any light fixtures, your backsplash, which could be anywhere upwards, depending on if you're including it as part of your countertop, or if you're doing a custom tile backsplash, could be another couple of $1,000s. Paint, who's doing the painting? It could range you a couple of $1,000s for paint. If you have to pay an electrician to come in and rewire a hood or install a new microwave, if you're not just depending on those things. That $7,000 is what we call a contingency, and it's going to include all of those other little items that happen around the major items in a kitchen remodel. I hope this was helpful. Kitchens under $25,000. And gives you a better idea of what to expect when you're looking at budget, looking at what you're going to put in, and how much room you have to play when you're using your imagination what your new kitchen is going to look like. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. This is Lorraine with Sacred by Design.